رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا قالت أنى يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين ولنجعله آية للناس ورحمة منا وكان أمرا مقضيا فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا فناداها من تحتها ألا تحزني قد جعل ربك تحتك سريا وهزي إليك بجذع النخلة تساقط عليك رطبا جنيا فكلي واشربي وقري عينا فإما ترين من البشر أحدا فقولي إني نذرت للرحمن صوما فلن أكلم اليوم إنسيا فأتت به قومها تحمله قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا فأشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام علي يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا ذلك عيسى بن مريم قول الحق الذي فيه يمترون
As you could, if you followed what the story was going on, was saying, we'll go through it anyway. It starts off by, mentioning Maryam alayhi salam and how she used to be in the chamber, and she basically found a chamber looking east. What happened in that chamber was a spirit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to it as a spirit, but this is not the spirit that the Christians refer to. This is Jibra'il. This was just one of his names. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used Ruh. It was just Jibra'il alayhi salam. And he came and he gave the message to Maryam alayhi salam that she will be bearing a child named Isa alayhi salam. And she questioned him. This was a conversation between her and the angel. How am I supposed to have a baby? I'm chaste. No man. I don't have a husband or nothing like that. And the angel replied, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says be, and it happens. That's how easy it is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first part. Then it moves on. So it moves on a few months and it goes on to from the pains of childbirth. So it's gone to a point where she's now got pains of childbirth. As being men, we could never really understand what the pains of childbirth is. But from what she says, you could tell that this was a very painful, very hard moment, where what she says is, oh, would that I had died before this and had become a thing of nothing, forgotten, wishing death. To this point, the pain is that bad. To that point, she was by herself. just on the verge of delivering Isa alayhi salam, and where she was left was she ended up near a trunk. We're not too sure how she gets there, but she's there by a trunk, a withered trunk. There's nothing there on that trunk. It's withered, there's no fruit, nothing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls out, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy and however Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, He calls out to her from below her. I'm not too sure if that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or Isa or the Ruh, Jibra'il, but a voice calls out from below her to tell her, shake the palm tree and there'll be fruit, there's a river underneath you and there'll be shade, so sleep, rest and look after yourself. From that it moves on to Maryam alayhi salam actually had the baby. She now vows to fast, not to talk to any man, but she now has to take the child back to her people. She was from the tribe of Bani Israel, which many people refer to as the Jews, but this was the title given, Bani Israel, from the people of Musa alayhi salam, from Pharaoh. She's from that tribe. She takes them back to her people, and the conversation between her people and her is also in the Quran. What her people say to her. This is a woman who's brought a prophet to them, and the reply to her is, your father was not, as you read there, your father wasn't someone that committed adultery and your mother wasn't unjust. What they're trying to say is, what you've done, what you've got here is nothing but bad news. Her own people rejected. Not everyone, but a few people rejected. But not only rejected, but slandered and threw accusations at Maryam alayhi salam, and this is being rebutted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's a Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebuts in a very powerful way. This moves on to, she points to the baby. That's all she can do. Because she's taken the vow, she points to the baby, and they criticize her. They laugh and jokingly say, how are we supposed to talk to a baby? Baby in the cradle. Imagine someone comes in now, points to the baby, tells you to talk. It's obviously, you can't talk to a baby. But for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you know, the mercy of Isa alayhi salam, he speaks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy comes through to Isa alayhi salam, and he speaks. He talks out of his cradle and he protects his mother. He tells them that he's sent to offer salah, offer charity, to obey his mother and be a mercy to this world. This is a very short look at Maryam alayhi salam's life. A very short, there's more to it, alhamdulillah. Maybe inshallah you go and study and look at it yourself and get as many points as you can from her life and from her struggles. But how does Maryam alayhi salam's struggle of childbirth link to us? What does this link? We could never have children and whatnot. Let's look at the reality of Maryam alayhi salam. The reality that she faced that time. Again, remember this. You have to remember this is not the period of time. This is thousands of years ago. I'm not too sure how many years it was, but it was thousands of years ago. Maryam alayhi salam grew up in a society where, you know, men were dominant. Pretty much this is the society today anyway. If you go to the Asian community, men are pretty much dominant. But for her to, you know, to be traveling around during carrying the baby with no transport, not like the transport we have today, lack of communication, all this you have to take into account of the journey and the struggle that she went through. And not only that, the struggle she went through to take her child to her people. Imagine someone was to come in right now and to say, this baby was born without the touch of a man. No man was involved. What would we think of this person? What would that person be feeling? Especially when she took her to the tribe, and the tribe not only refuted, not only told her to go away, but insulted her. Called her whatever they needed to call her. And this was her struggle. This was her test